Hello and welcome back to the Arc. Today we talk about Naruto. So make sure that you don't spoil yourself. Watch the whole thing if you somehow haven't finished a 11-year-old show. In this podcast, we kind of try to stay on the original Naruto, but we do also talk about Shippuden too. So if you haven't seen Shippuden or care about spoilers for Shippuden, take care of that stuff first. I can say with absolute certainty that despite how much we rail on the show, I really do love that show. It's near and dear to my heart. Go watch it if you haven't. And with that, welcome back to the Arc.
Welcome back. Part number, I don't know what part we're on, but this is another part to it.
Yeah, we haven't named episodes yet.
So welcome to another.
This is part of the series of recordings that would be the lost first episodes.
Archives. We're going to make some archives.
Yeah, it's the archives. Because for the record, how we do this is we record our episodes way ahead of time. And we make sure we have like a nice library so that we can keep this up every week.
I mean, we would love to talk to y'all live, but, we got jobs and we don't like to get fired.
Yeah. But today, we're back again. I'm Nathan. That's Jesse.
It's a holiday today. It is a Naruto holiday today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, this is probably, I think it came out in springtime, right? Naruto?
Wait, seriously?
I think so.
Honestly, that sounds about right to me.
I think we need to celebrate this for a minute. We're going to talk about Naruto, but I think we need to stop and celebrate this because I think today's a special day. Right. Let's start off with this. I think it's a special day. One of my favorite topics. I know it's all of yours too. This is top. Naruto.
Yeah. Man.
Naruto has a toe. Yes.
Well, you know how we can start this off? Do you remember how it felt when that show ended?
It was crap. You didn't have nothing else to watch. You had Ben 10. Code Lyoko. You know what?
No, I mean actually, yeah, you're right. Because I actually didn't know what to do with myself when the OG Naruto ended. But I'm talking about 20 years later when Shippuden ended.
Oh, yeah.
Watching that last episode and sort of being damn, I grew up with this. It's gone.
Yeah, we kind of grew past him a little bit because it was
we did.
We found out he was 16 when he came back, and I'm like, man, bro, I'm 20, bro. We started at the same. This man in a hyperbolic time chamber, bro. This man stuck in the air. He froze, bro.
Although he had a good point. When it ended on Toonami, I was like, yo, what do I even do? Samurai Jack's done too. And Yu Yu Hakusho is gone. It was nothing. Oh, man. You remember how it was when it came out?
Okay. I'm going to tell you what. See, everyone sleeps on, when they talk about the greatest shows of all time, I think they sleep on, especially the newcomer. This is the problem I have with y'all new guys, man. I don't have any issues. I just want you guys to respect the old stuff sometimes. Respect stuff in general. Respect it for what it is. Because, there's a lot of shows who made noise, right? Dragon Ball Super. We had the Jiren fight. It made movies, right? That was a movie that broke time. You had
Jiren fight wasn't a movie. That was that shit's confusing. But
yeah. But it broke time. You had stuff like Jujutsu Kaisen selling out records. You had things like Demon Slayer selling out records. So we celebrate those. We celebrate for what it is. Naruto. Let me tell y'all something for y'all that are not our age, that are not in their 20s, that back then, let's say you guys are 16. Naruto. One of the most iconic shows, I think, in my opinion. Bro, dudes was doing hand signs, man. You know what I'm saying? It changed track and field. Dudes weren't even running the same.
Well, that's a good thing, though.
It's a good
thing. You'll be with Naruto running on the track, and you're like, is that good form? Oh, no. And especially if you were a weeb, and you had secondhand embarrassment, and you're sitting there, and somebody Naruto runs through the hallway, and you were like, oh.
Yep. Man, so I almost lost track, man. I'm sorry. I get excited when I talk about Naruto. I start sweating. Naruto, I'm looking for my headband. What was your question? You said how Naruto. Are we want to start with Naruto?
I was saying, how was it when you first watched it? When it first came out? Talk about that.
Okay, so I am a person back then that was a little bit of a hater sometimes. I'm like, man, y'all watch. Y'all slicing this Naruto, man. I don't want to watch this mainstream. You know what I'm saying? I always wanted to watch the underground, right? Right. Y'all know about this. Y'all know about that. But I'm going to tell you what, man, there's a reason why shows hit mainstream. It ain't just because they know certain people and certain strings. That show was lit. And I didn't watch it in the beginning. I only watched it in the Zabuza arc. And I'll tell you, even though I was late to the party, when I started watching it, I was like, man, I've been missing out. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, this show is tight. You know, I never seen anything like it. I never, like, usually, you know, when it came to hand signs, like, it made it seem like sign language was empowered here, right? Because you had this in Dragon Ball Z, you know, when Vegeta did the final flash thing, he was all
yeah.
That didn't really mean anything. He could have just put his hands together and said it, you know.
Oh, wait, you're thinking of Trunks. You're thinking of Trunks. When
Trunks,
he did the burning attack.
Yeah.
It didn't even matter. It was just a regular ass energy blast, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
exactly. Hand signs don't matter. And it's like, Naruto to me was like, after I first watched Dragon Ball Z, I didn't know what else to watch. So Naruto made that easy transition for me. I instantly fell in love. I was like, this show is tight because Kakashi Sensei was the man.
Oh, yeah.
That was the man. You know what I'm saying?
And we'll get into that because, man, we have a whole section. We're going to talk about story. We're going to talk about characters. We're going to talk about power scaling, all sorts of stuff.
So let me ask you before we jump in that, what did you think when you first saw it? When did you first see it?
Man.
When was this?
So, like, this one takes me back. So I was young, right? I followed Toonami religiously as a kid. And I'd sit down every Saturday, I must say. I think it was the day on Saturdays, right? And I'd sit down with my sister and we'd watch whatever was on at the time. And man, when Naruto came out, it was sold as like the next generation of action show, the biggest anime out there right now. It wasn't lying. And it was like, you remember Tom, the Toonami dude?
Oh, yeah.
With his smooth ass voice sitting there. And he sold that. And you'd see all the commercials and you had that cool narrator selling that whole thing. And I saw from the first episode all the way till when it ended, including filler. Like, man, I don't know. Something about, and we can just jump right into characters because you were about to talk to Kakashi.
Well, before you want to talk about like in terms of okay. Before we do, in terms of story, right? I don't even know. What do you think about the story? Not Shippuden. Let's just say Naruto. Break it in there.
Okay.
Story there. What are you thinking? I'm just
gonna go full like pretentious nerd about this, right? So like, there's a lot that's been said about Naruto's story, right? When people talk about Naruto's story, they say stuff like, "Oh, it's this underdog story about this guy who's overcoming talent with hard work," or they'll say it should have been that story, but it ended up being about this guy who becomes Jesus. In my opinion, Naruto is a series about mastering your own potential and dealing with the demons inside of you and in the world. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And not letting those demons overtake you in your pursuit of whatever you want. That's what Naruto has always meant to me. And that's what has made it so powerful from the beginning to me. I think it does a lot of things good and it does a lot of things bad when it comes to that. But Naruto as a character was always somebody that I was able to relate and project myself onto. You know what I mean? Like I could see myself in Naruto in a lot of ways. So that's what I'd say. What about you?
I was gonna say, I think it's kind of cool, man. I'll be honest. There was definitely a lot of bad things, but I'll tell you, I didn't notice that until hindsight because I was so in tune with the show. Because in the beginning, it was so much to learn. There was a lot of more. You wanted to know more. There's some shows where it's like, I wonder what's going to happen. I was instantly knowing that when this show came out, I want to know the next thing. I want to see what happens. Does anyone die? Because granted, at this time, when I watched the show, I didn't know anime to kill off characters. There was always some special type of, ceremony that would happen before you can kill off a character. And I'm not saying it did that, but it was just in the sense of I was always on my toes. This show, to me, I think really brought forth a new fighting style. The story, to me, was so refreshing, right? Yes, it's not, in terms of the message, I don't think the message was different from what we saw from other animes, maybe so, but I think personally, the way they did it was amazing, right? It was the way they deliver it. That to me, that overachieving, not letting anyone take your goals. Because remember, at this time, anime wasn't really popular. People weren't giving Naruto a shake. They didn't, you know, it's funny. People didn't give Naruto a shake till a few years ago, I feel like. But it was just, it's like Well,
the weird part is like everybody pretended like it wasn't cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people, and I guarantee they were watching it.
But everybody watched that show. I don't know too many people who didn't watch that show or who I talked about who were like, oh yeah, I didn't watch Naruto. Because everybody watched Toonami. Everybody watched Toonami. You can't play like you didn't watch Toonami. Yeah. Everybody watched Toonami.
Yeah, I think the story, man, was just something amazing because, like I said, where I come from, Dragon Ball Z didn't really have a story. You just watched for the the fighting over and over again. But Naruto, man, I was following Naruto, man. I was following this. It was almost like school, man. Like there are certain characters that were brought in, and we're gonna get into that, where there was like the cool guys, there was Neji, there was Gaara, there was, the cool, and it's like you seeing this progression of determination, good speeches, and yes, does he become Jesus? Maybe so, but it's like you don't notice that until hindsight. At least I didn't. I didn't notice it until hindsight. I was enjoying it every step of the way. Now, I will say the fillers got annoying. I'm not a filler person. That was from day one. I'm not a filler person, but some fillers are funny, but some are just like, the main reason why I think Dragon Ball Z scarred me from that, and I'm not going to keep bringing up Dragon Ball Z, but it's like,
I mean, it's going to be in this conversation.
It's confusing, right? Because I just like, when I watched the Brawly movie, the first one, I was like, wait a minute. It was just Super Saiyan 3, last episode I saw, then the Brawly movie, and it's just like, wait, what? So it was confusing to me. So I just watched it for what it was worth. And I think at the time, with this show, it was it was nothing. So it was amazing. I was hooked. Right. We want to talk about characters because I'm anxious to talk about those. We can talk about characters. And it's just Naruto. So not Shippuden.
Yeah, we're just doing Naruto. There will be a Shippuden cast. I mean, we're going to touch on Shippuden, like the whole Jesus thing. But like, we're just talking about like Naruto, the original Naruto. I think the most important characters in Naruto, it's so weird because at least, and I'm not going to try to talk too much about Shippuden. It's going to come up when Shippuden happens. But like when comparing Naruto and Shippuden, I think Naruto handles like all of its characters a lot better in terms of like keeping them relevant. I remember back in the day, I used to really love Neji. I really loved Neji. Neji was a cool ass dude. He was, and that's kind of why I loved him. I love the heel turn he had. Like he went from, or like I guess face turn. He went from like the resident dick to like, look, man, Naruto's my bro. I'm gonna back this man up. I'm gonna throw down my life for this man. That's cool. That's cool.
Right uppercuts can do that to you, man. I can do that to you.
But like, I think the most important characters, oddly enough, for most people are like Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, Kakashi, Gaara, and
don't even mention Sakura. Let's not. He doesn't exist.
I know. No one cares about Sakura. I care about her because I kind of wish she could have been more. You know what I mean?
What a waste, right? It's like, I love Sakura sometimes.
So here's the question then. Who's your favorite character in part 1?
What's part 1? What do we consider in part 1?
Up until the
episode 1 to 50.
I'd say, because we're not counting fillers, right? So
no, let's say tuning exam. Want to do tuning exam?
Well, no, because I'd say, who's your favorite character up until after the Naruto Sasuke fight? Like I'm considering this whole discussion like that chunk of story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is pretty much the story, to be honest. The rest is really filler. Okay. You said who's my favorite or who's most important?
I'd say who's your favorite.
Rock Lee. That's not without a question.
That is. I feel like that's like it's such a basic bitch answer, but like he is kind of like the best character. You know what I mean?
I don't care what nobody says. You gonna tell me Rock Lee versus Gaara was not the number 1 fight or top 5 fight you ever saw, knowing the story in history? You're lying to yourself. That fight is like first off, I want to say this. Looking in hindsight, Rock Lee was the real underdog here. You know what I'm saying? Rock Lee was the dude he didn't have no attractiveness. He worked his butt off, and every time you saw him, what's better than seeing it's like it brought back, because at the time, the fights we were used to seeing were scripts ran over the same punch every 30 seconds, every 5 frames. Bing, bing. And it's like, Rock Lee actually shows you martial arts. And Rock Lee gave Sasuke them hands when he first saw him. It took away the natural talent. Rock Lee was drunk and off of surgery off the couch beating Kinemataru, right? And my thing is like, bro, Rock Lee, man, what an emotional. I watch it to this day. I promise you. I probably watched it more than 150. I've watched that fight with Gaara. I know the episodes, 47 to 50. I know them.
Shit.
And I'm so serious. I know the episodes. So I just said where he's at. And I'm telling you right now, one of the best fight arcs I've ever seen in my life. And period. You know what I mean? I can't think of another other than Zabuza. That would be my second one, but it was just like the first one would be hands down. Okay, I can't just go for man, top three. I can name them real quick. We got Rock Lee, Zabuza, and we got Gaara. Those are my three.
Okay. So I'd actually go with. If we're going with top three, then I'm going with Kakashi, Lee.
You want to talk about basic bitch answers, Kakashi?
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. Let me get my Starbucks, my cappuccino.
Where's this blonde?
Go to the gym and not work out with my yoga pants.
Oh my God. What's that thing? Pumpkin spice. I'm gonna get him a pumpkin spice.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah, man. Kakashi, Lee.
He is cool.
Look. Because look, in Naruto, there's like two kinds of characters, right? There's the I'm not going to give up. There's the Narutos and the Sasukes. There's the two characters. There's the Narutos and the Sasukes. There's the guys who are talented and then they give in to darkness and become like horrible human beings, but with like understandable philosophies and goals. And then there's like the Narutos who never give up and never compromise their morality. And Kakashi's like, how do I put this? He's like somewhere in the middle, and I kind of love that. Like, he's like, this man has the most depressing backstory, and nobody ever talks about it. People will be like, oh, yeah, Madara or whatever have the, I don't know, we're not talking about Shippuden, but like, Orochimaru.
No, it's hard. It's hard.
No one talks about Orochimaru. Orochimaru didn't have a bad backstory. He's just fucking evil.
He had bad parents or something like that, I thought.
He's something like that. Or like Sasuke. He has and man, let me tell you the moment that made me love this guy. You remember when Sasuke, right before the Sasuke retrieval arc, he's like, gosh, you wouldn't understand. I should murder your family and see how he makes you feel. And Kakashi throws this man into a tree. And he's like, well, I mean, you could do that if you wanted to, but the problem is they're already dead.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn.
That was epic. I wouldn't even call him, he was the dad of the show, man. Oh, well, at least Naruto. He was like the dad coaching everybody. I'm like, man, yeah, I like Kakashi bro, I can't hate on Kakashi. I mean, yeah, I love him too.
Man, and like he has like the best fucking roasts, man. Like, you remember how he like fucking went on Zabuza and he's like, shit. I don't even know what he said. Oh yeah, he's like, oh yeah, I can like Zabuza was like, oh, can you see the future? He's like, yeah, I can see the future. Your future's dead. Yeah. I was like,
Yep.
It was so good.
Yeah, it was epic.
And then he'd be trash talking Naruto in the thing. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. I was getting a little lagged there. Who's your third one? You didn't pick your third one yet.
Oh yeah, I didn't pick a third one. I don't know, man, because it's tough. I guess Zabuza, just because I don't know, man. Zabuza, I still watch that. Sometimes I'm like,
he was lit.
It's the way he goes, man. The way he dies. I'm like, damn, that man.
Savage.
Like
savage.
Okay, it's like everybody always be like Naruto has too much talk no jutsu, but like, oh man, I'm even kind of I'm such a bitch. I'm tearing up thinking about it. Like, there's that bit. It's like I think Naruto says to him, he's like, how could you treat Haku as a tool? He really
19.
cared for you. He was willing to throw away his life for your stupid goals. Mm-hmm. And then Zabuza was just like, I don't care. I was willing to. And then after, and then Naruto rails on him again. And then after that, he's like, your words cut deep, kid. And I was like, he's like, the truth is, all ninjas try to act like tools, but deep down we're human. And I was just like,
It was deep, bro. I'm telling you, that's probably one of my favorite episodes of all time. Episode 19. That's where it happened.
Yeah. And then it starts snowing. And it starts snowing, dude. It starts snowing. And he's just like, this must be Haku's tears. And I was like,
Yeah, it was rough to watch. I'll tell you what, it made that piano theme song one of the most iconic theme songs too.
It's true. Like that theme song, you can still play it and get like you can make something completely unrelated emotional just because you watch that scene. You know what I mean? Oh,
And I'll tell you what, man, that episode, I think, in my opinion, if it wasn't the tuning exams and stuff like that, I think that was the episode that got everyone hooked that know this show was for real. I think was the biggest turning point. Now, let me ask this. We said best top 3 characters. What are the worst 3 characters? Because I can definitely name a few. Oh, wait. Before we go there, runners up for good characters that I think were played that didn't get enough respect. Shino, man. Shino was another one that I really liked.
That was my boy. Yeah. That was my boy.
Yeah. Bug boy.
Fucking, so good. He stole the show when he was on screen for me. Like the way he wiped Kankuro was great. Let's see, underrated character, Shino.
Definitely a to be mentioned. What is those things called where it's like honorable mentions?
That's for honorable mentions.
Yep.
Honestly, the bridge builder.
No, get out of here.
I like the bridge builder. He's great.
I left the chat. I left. He lied.
He's such a bitch. I love him. He's like, and he's such an old man. You don't see characters like that in the later part of Naruto. So like he helps add like a gritty energy to it.
I hate the bridge builder. He was annoying.
Who's your second? Wait, who's your second then?
I only have one honorable mention, but if we're talking about the worst characters.
Oh, I thought you were going to give it another 3.
I can try. Honorable mentions.
Yeah, so I was going to say that's hard.
Yeah, there is no 3 for honorable mentions. I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, if that's the case, then my honorable mention is also Shino, because Shino, Shino, like in Naruto, right? In Naruto Part 1, there was like, and we can transition into some of the, or we can touch on the power scaling, right? So like you were strong in Naruto if you were smart and if you had like a decent gimmick, you know what I mean? And this man was like everybody always hyped up Shikamaru was the smartest guy, but Shino was like so fucking ridiculously smart. Like he even roasted Kankuro for just like relying on his puppet stuff, and he's like, yeah, I'm just a bug dude, man, and I kicked your ass. Because I think, and it was great. But I don't know, man. It's so like, I think you already answered this question with Lee, but like, what character do you think impacted you the most?
Lee.
Am I wrong by saying it's Lee? Is it Lee?
No, you're not wrong. You're 100% right. It's 100% wrong. That and Zabuza, but I'll say Lee because it was just like, he wasn't good at anything, bro. Like he wasn't. The dude trained his butt off. He didn't have ninjutsu or genjutsu. The dude was just a hard worker. Like you couldn't tell me he found a way to beat everyone, the best of them. You know what I mean? He hung with the best of them. And to me, yeah, he definitely gave it for me. I will say, well, see, that touches on Shippuden. If that was the case, I would say Shikamaru if it was Shippuden. But it's true.
It's true.
Yeah. But I'll definitely say it's definitely, in terms of Naruto, Rock Lee all the way. There's no Jiraiya, no Orochimaru, no Tsunade. Kabuto was also pretty dope, actually. But yeah, it's definitely Rock Lee.
Man, yeah. It's funny, too, because like I feel like the appeal of Rock Lee is like, he's a character who looks you as a viewer straight in the eye and goes like, what's your excuse? You know what I mean? Like when you see him just training and he's just like, he literally has nothing. Like he has nothing in that world. He wasn't even good at taijutsu as a kid. And he became like the taijutsu master. Like I don't care what people say. Rock Lee would have whooped Neji's ass if he was ever serious.
100%. I say all the time. They always play Neji with that copper gun.
Only reason that he thought he was worse than Neji. Like he was an overachiever. Like this man wanted to beat Neji without the gates. But man, if this man like let loose the gates on Neji, would have been a wrap. Like it's weird too, because you said he won a lot, but I remember him actually losing most of his battles. It's just like the way this man loses is so respectful that people forget that
he lost all his battles back.
Yeah,
he lost all of them.
All of them.
Yeah, he didn't win any.
He beat Sasuke. He beat Sasuke. That's it. But he loses all of his fights, and it's crazy because people still respect him. Like, and that's because he wins, even though he loses. You know what I mean?
He wins over fans. He's a fan favorite.
Well, not even that, but like philosophically, right? Like his thing is, I just want to prove to the world that I'm a splendid ninja. And then like in the Gaara fight, ain't nobody in that arena looked at him and was like, "You're a bad ninja." everybody pulled away from that fight going, Rock Lee, you're great.
Yes. All right. I will say, let's go power scaling, right? Let's definitely. Now, I will say power scaling. If I were to rate it a 1 out of 10, like, and I'm not trying to do that here, but I'm just going to say power scaling was all over the place. I didn't watch the show for power scaling because it was confusing. They contradicted themselves a lot. At one point, Neji was the strongest man in the Leaf Village. You know what I'm saying? And he was beating Sasuke, and this man was struggling with the dude with the arrows. I guess styles make fights, right? But it's like, it's like the Byakugan was never proven to have more strength. Like, even when he said it, I'm not even going with, let's say if you stop that when Kakashi said that when he fought Hinata. If you were to look at the show, you would say, in what way, and I've always questioned it, in what way is the Byakugan stronger than the Sharingan? Because it's like, Sharingan can predict movements almost before it even happens, right? So I'm like, and you think you can copy them. So what's stopping him from copying the 8 trigrams, right? What's stopping him from copying any of that stuff? And the thing is, like, Neji don't have no the whole what is their clan name? Byakugan. What's their clan? The Hyuga clan. The whole Hyuga clan has no ninjutsu like that. Right. Well, in Naruto at least, they had no ninjutsu, and it was like, in that case, they all got, it's just taijutsu. So one fireball jutsu's melt my man's. You know what I'm saying? Right. And if he fought Kankuro, he'll get poisoned, and it's like he'll get roofied with Kankuro, and it's like. And then even the Wind Girl, man, the Tamari would blow him a tornado. It's just like, where was this man? You know what I'm saying? His strength relied. Styles make fights. I guess in the strongest, they should have said strongest taijutsu people. One of them. Because they didn't know about Lee. Right. But it was just like.
Well, that was always weird to me too. Because like, you could say, oh, well, the Sharingan can't copy Kekkei Genkai, and it was always also like, but like even the basic powers, like what you were saying, like. You can use Genjutsu with it, and you can copy Jutsu, and you can predict movements before they even happen. How is that weaker than the Byakugan?
It never made sense, man. And I guess they wanted a way for Naruto to be the best guy ever, because what about Shino, man? Shino would have dogged him. Bugs would eat him alive.
No, you know what I mean?
Kiba, 2-on-1, Kiba might have dogged him. I mean, well, maybe not. Let me not say that.
Yeah, Kiba would have gotten his ass kicked. Kiba would have gotten his ass kicked. But like,
it's like, man, the power scaling was like Dragon Ball Z scaling, in my opinion. Like, it was just, none of it ever made sense to me. And it's just like, Naruto wasn't a simple 1 + 1 = 2. Sometimes that don't equal 6. And it was just like, like same thing with Kinimaru, the dude that, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, the bone guy who fought Rock.
Yeah. You said Kinimaru. That's right.
Yeah. So it's like with him, it's like, he was supposed to be the next vessel, the strongest dude. And all you got is bones, and and no, I'm not trying to be like the logic guy, but you don't have that many. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have that many to just be breaking and just being like, yes, you got a few extra, but they didn't say you had hundreds extra. They just like,
well, I mean, he could make 100 extra. You had that whole bone thing that he did, where he made like the whole world bones or whatever.
And let's talk about another with power scaling. Another thing that was confusing was the Tail Beast, man. The Tail Beast battle, Gaara versus Naruto. Naruto should have won. I just don't understand. Like, it just, the power is so.
It's super weird too, because he's like supposed to be like the secret weapon. Like, their whole plan was just to sick this kid on the Leaf Village, but he got stopped by like a 10-year-old Genin. Like,
and that's what I'm saying. And you thinking what, the third Hokage wasn't going to piece him up?
Yeah, right.
I'm thinking Kakashi wouldn't have lit this man up, because at first his original plan was for him not to fall asleep completely. You know, but, and I'm like, bro, like, or maybe that wasn't the plan, but either way, it's like, Orochimaru need to do better planning, man. He must have fell school or something, because that's another thing too. Orochimaru, when he fought Jiraiya and Tsunade, the man had nothing. He had, I don't know, man. It was just, he wasn't as strong.
Well, yeah. Okay, he was supposed to have his jutsu taken away, and yet he's throwing down with both of them at the same time.
Well, that's why they had the excuse of Jiraiya being, which is also, I don't know.
Poison.
Yeah,
but but it's still like,
it's BS.
And man, they do Tsunade dirty too, because she wasn't poisoned, and she was still came off as the weakest of the three. You know what I mean?
Yep.
In that fight, like, Orochimaru had lost his hands, and Jiraiya was poisoned. I feel like she should have been kicking both of their asses. You know what I mean?
And her assistant even got bodied too by Kabuto. And it's like, their power scaling is like a way to say, like saying the way he said with Kabuto, he can go toe to toe with Kakashi if he had to, but then he gets stopped by a Rasengan, because it proves to be Naruto to be the success of to show how far he has come. And I'm just like, no, let's not do that here. Let's this is like you guys are making this power scaling really all over the place. I mean, yeah, man, you got from the legendary signings, right? The whole name of them being legendary. Then their battle was the worst battle of the show.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it was close.
Yeah.
It was like the worst battle of the show, man. I'm like, I'd rather watch Kabuto piece up Naruto to be on that battle.
Oh yeah, that was the better fight. Like nobody cared about the stupid. Nobody remembers that fight.
I don't even want to watch it. The music was cool, but no, I don't even want to remember it because it was so bad, man. And the power scaling, yeah, it definitely needed some work. You know, thank God for the story and for everything else we've been talking about because the power scaling was stupid.
Yeah. I mean, if you ask me, I feel like it's like, it really is the character, right? Like you can tell what kind of Naruto fan somebody is by who they like. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like who they say is their favorite character. Like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like there's something that people, because there's so many characters. So there's something that each character kind of speaks to in their kind of way of viewing the world. Like I had somebody who said they really like Shikamaru. And if you're talking about underrated characters, and you're saying Shikamaru was like better than Shippuden. Have you ever rewatched the Tamari fight? Him versus Tamari? That's like one of my favorite fights in Naruto.
Yeah, I agree.
She's throwing down with him. He retreats, and then he's just like, he just stops and looks at the sky, and he's like, I want to be a cloud.
Yeah.
That's so good. He's like, I wish I was a cloud, man. I just wanted to live an ordinary life and marry this like average girl, be like an all-right shinobi. I don't want no drama.
At the time. Fighting his wife at the time. That's crazy.
Yeah, like Shikamaru's the definition of a mood. You know what I mean?
He is.
He's kind of great for it. Like
the Shikamaru emoji, how to use it.
Oh yeah. Like Naruto was so good at making relatable characters. You know?
Minus Tenten.
Yeah, I don't know what her shit was.
He was the best character of all. She beat everybody.
Yeah, she got the Sage of Six Paths stuff. Remember?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Ramen Guy was legendary. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Ramen Guy was legendary. Okay, character development. I think the Ramen dude had the best character development. Did he?
No, look, legit. Hey, we'll talk about it when we get to Shippuden. But like, legit Ramen Guy. You know what? I'm gonna take out honorable mention. Straight up, Ramen Guy. I love that dude. Like, I legitimately like. People talk about like, oh, Naruto would be nothing without Iruka. No, fuck that. He'd be nothing without Ramen Guy putting up with his bullshit every day.
That is true.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
this is true.
He fed Naruto. Naruto was famous for only eating ramen.
At his shop.
Yeah, at his shop. And the Ramen Guy didn't even like him that much at the beginning. Like, Ramen Guy, like, I'd actually love to talk about how Ramen Guy is actually like one of the better characters in Naruto.
Yeah, hey, shout out to Ramen Guy because that made everyone want to eat ramen. They were like, I want to eat ramen. I want to eat with my nephew actually said that. We went out to eat ramen and at a place and he was like, I want Naruto ramen. I said, that's not something on the menu, bro. That's not something on the menu, but we can try to get it. But it's crazy. I'll say character development. It depends on who you're talking. It's not, to me, it's not, at least in Naruto, it's not embracively throughout the whole show. Naruto, to me, is the same character throughout the whole show. I just, in that jump. But if we talking about Rock Lee, it wasn't so much a character development, it was so much so of
like a character study, right?
Yeah. Actually, let me break it back. The character development is non-existent, man. Because either way, it's just in Naruto at least, Rock Lee already had that determination from the moment we met him. We got a chance to know his story, but it wasn't like he developed and maybe he was sad in the hospital, but who don't go through emotion? And it's like Neji had some character development. He humbled himself, but that's about it. To be real with you, like everyone else.
There's Sasuke. I'd argue not all of it's good.
That's true. Sasuke did have character development. This is facts. This is facts. I 100% agree with that.
Well, let's actually go into that. Sasuke's development is some of the most contentious stuff in Naruto. What did you think of his story?
At the time, I thought he was cool, but I didn't want to like him because everyone else liked him and all the girls liked him. So I was like, no, I ain't liking him. I ain't liking this man. So I like someone else. Because I'm like, I didn't relate with that because I was never the most popular dude in school. So it was like, and he didn't even try with no effort, barely spoke, the most introvert dude. He says one word, all the girls go, Sasuke. It's like, I'm good. But I actually think his story is pretty great, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a lonely story. Who's paying his mortgage? Let's talk about that. Because he had no parents or no... That man got a serious credit line, bro. He got a serious credit line. His brother left him with some credit.
Yo, you got any family pay for this? My family's dead.
Where he get his food from? These are the fillers I want to know. How you pay your rent, bro? You know what I'm saying? But beyond that, beyond the jokes, I think his story is epic, especially when you got a chance to see how powerful his brother was on episode 85. 85.
Wow, you really know episode name.
Oh, bro, I'm not playing. I know Naruto like the back of my hand. See, look, guys, we were talking about what we were going to talk about. We got topics, but there's some topics we got to write stuff down. Naruto's not one of those things for me. I know episode like the back of my hand. I'm gonna be honest. Episode 85, because episode 82 is when Kakashi fought and Guy came in to save when they fought Itachi and Kisame. When they got a chance to fight Sasuke on 84, that's when, they first came and appeared. And 85 is when Jiraiya was there watching it. I ain't gonna say, I actually thought that was a pretty good episode because it showed how weak Sasuke was. Sasuke knew and was like, what if I relate with that topic of what have I been doing all this time? Especially when you meet someone that's just light years ahead of you. You're like, man, I've been playing around with Kakashi. I really do need a Orochimaru. Because originally he wasn't going to go to Orochimaru. He almost hit a sense of Bakugo, right? A sense of, I ain't going to be a villain. I'm not going to be that. And Bakugo's from My Hero, for those that don't know. But let's take the reference away. He was more of a guy who wasn't going to betray his village. And he was more of a guy who was going to stay there until he saw the power difference and he knew he needed the power.
I'm with you. I feel like that's what makes him so interesting was that he was about to stay a good guy. Like he was about to be like, no, like I can figure this out my own way. And then the second Itachi shows up, he's like, fuck, this ain't working.
No.
You know what I mean?
Nope. Beat him with no effort. No effort. Yeah. Reminded him why he was doing it to the first time by choking him and giving him a Tsukuyomi real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about this. Shout out to Sasuke. He should be your career counselor. This man has kept the same goals since he had on episode 2 talking about he wanted to kill his brother. And that man followed through with it.
It's true. He did. He did. Career counselor. It's funny, too, because I really feel like, I mean, look, there's a lot of people who don't agree with Sasuke's decisions. I mean, I don't think I do, too. But, like, I feel like it helped that Itachi had so much swag. Like, you ever rewatch that scene where he shows up to kidnap Naruto and he fucking knocks on the door? Like, this man knocks. He doesn't break in. He just knocks on the door. And then Naruto's like, oh, look, Jiraiya's back. And then he opens the door. And then Naruto's like, fuck.
Yep. It made the Sharingan a little bit more iconic in that way. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of dope. Yeah, I will say, though, like, Sasuke's story overall was the whole purpose of the show. I mean, to be honest. I mean,
yeah.
But it was the Naruto Sasuke fight was great. I'm not even going to lie there. It's just Sasuke was, like, too cool for school, man. The man was too cool. I like the story. His story, it wasn't so much he turned from a cool guy to a corny guy. He went from cool guy to dark cool guy. You know?
Yeah.
Real cool. I like it, though. I don't mind it. I'm with it.
I feel like with Sasuke's story, too, it was like this. Okay, so you like it. Yeah, no, I was saying, because I feel like with Sasuke's story, it was this thing of, like, what was the idea? Like, what would you say, like, what would you, because, like, everybody had, like, a thing they were about, right? Like, Neji's was about destiny and, like, free will and how much you can control your own fate. And Rock Lee was, like, struggling against what do you do when you have no talent?
Sasuke's thing, if you want to talk about Sasuke's thing, was, am I the best of who I said I am? Because I actually just thought about it now. He fought Naruto, and remember when he found out when Kakashi broke our Sakura was like, oh my God. And then Kakashi, with one hand, threw both of them a different direction. Shout out to Kakashi doing push-ups. And then, Sasuke thought he was good because he saw a little water sprinkle until he walked in the back. And when he walked in the back, the entire show, Sasuke kept getting shown that he was not the best. Through the Gaara fight, when Naruto summoned the big frog, he was like, how did he do that? Right? The fight on the rooftop fight, I think it was episode 108. Quote me on that. 108. Someone quote me. Sasuke got a chance to look at the back of what would have happened to his body if that would have hit him. Sasuke had damage up front. So it was like, man, he's still right there neck and neck. And it annoyed him. And I understand. I mean, I haven't been through that with nobody, but I can understand how it can be annoying. You're supposed to be part of this legendary Uchiha clan. And this Naruto dude is right there neck and neck. Every time you didn't think, this is the same loser kid that failed his test, failed and got embarrassed, and is right there with you. What you got to say now? What you got to say now? Beat the dude you couldn't beat, Gaara at the time.
Right.
And, it just proved him time and time again. And I think not just the breaking point was the Itachi thing. That kind of broke him. Like, all right, I'm done. I'm so done. I'm so done being sick. You know what I mean? So it was, I think his thing was, I need to be the best. And I'm not the best. And I can't stick in this village because I'm not growing.
Right.
I need to go to college.
It's funny because that's something I never hear people talk about, right? Like, it was like, I want to say like, oh, it was his evil or his tragedy, the fact that he was angsting over his lost family that turned him evil. No, it was the fact that he felt like inferior to Naruto that turned him. It wasn't anything else. It's funny how like you'd think it would be the angst, but like when you think about it, it was really the pettiness that turned him to the dark side. You know what I mean? It's just the fact that he thought that he was better than Naruto.
And he knew how strong. Well, he thought he knew how strong Itachi was, and and really, like he was like, man, if I'm not the best, then something wrong. Props to him because it was the right thing for him to do. To be real with you on his goal, if he stayed in that village, Kakashi couldn't train him. Kakashi couldn't do nothing with him. Naruto at that time was getting trained by legendary Sanin, so he needed to do the same thing.
Right.
He needed to do the same thing to get to the next level. So I think he did the right thing. It's just, and then he got shown again with the Sound Ninja 4. There was many times he'd been shown over and over. And even with this curse one, he was like, you're not the only special one.
Let me ask you this then. Since what you said might make you be like, oh, what do you mean that's the right thing to do? You saying he's going to train under the evil, the fucking, the fucking snake terrorist over there? But like, what would you do then if you were him? And if you were in Sasuke's shoes and you had Sasuke's goal, so you don't have your own goal, you have Sasuke's goal. What would you have done?
Oh, straight up, I would have bounced. Because my thing is like, I know me personally, and I know him. If I kept seeing the guy I'm competing with, and I have this goal of knowing my brother is this, I don't know how strong, but I know he's strong,
right.
And I'm not doing his steps, right? I'm not going to kill my best friend to get the thing. I'm going to try to do it another way because that was also his thing. So it was also mighty. He also loved Naruto because he could have killed him and he didn't.
Right.
So let's talk. I mean, we can go there too. I would do the same thing.
We should.
Honestly, I wouldn't have killed someone innocent because I think that would break mine and his mentality, right? Because that means I just killed the dude that's been with me through all these times and I'm killing my own comrades. That's not what I personally believed in because it's contradictory. I killed my own comrade. That's the same thing of what my brother did in my eyes and what I know at the time. So I would have did it. I would have did it 100%. I would be like, yo.
Would you go to Orochimaru specifically though?
Absolutely. I know it's I already, if let's say if I'd done the research and I seen Naruto getting trained by Jiraiya, I'm like, I need to go there. I need to go there because this is the same guy that Kakashi was shaking in his boots talking about some after the Chunin exam when he was sealing Sasuke talking about some, I must have been out of my mind. One of us are going to die here. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would go train with him because Kakashi can't do anything with that. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. Oh, and he found out. Oh, that's the reason why he found out. He found out his brother pieced up Kakashi and he was in a coma. Yeah. So you going to look at the dude you just pieced, you're going to learn from him? He just got pieced up. So I'm like, yo, absolutely. And that's why he ran to Naruto to find if that was really Itachi. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, yeah, bro, I'm out. There's no one training me. There's no one training me at this village. My own guy that I thought was so strong is in a coma right now from my brother. Like, and we don't know when he's going to wake up. We don't know when. All right, deuces. I'm throwing up the peace sign and I'm out getting my, report me. I'm going right there, Orochimaru.
Right.
What would you do? You wouldn't do the same? I'd be out. Orochimaru.
I agree with you because it's funny because I didn't know, but like you bring up a really good point about like why would you especially if you have enough awareness to know, sit there and be like, oh, I've got this really, because let's be real. A lot of people online think like, oh, Naruto and Sasuke have this great friendship. But at least in the first part one, it got really toxic because Sasuke's sitting there constantly comparing himself. And if I'm Sasuke, I'm going to sit there and go like, I actually do really value him as a friend. But I'm not going to let this whole thing get in the way how me feeling some type of way about this get in the way of our friendship. And I'm not trying to kill him just to do what my brother said, because fuck that guy. He killed my family. You know what I mean? Like, just out of pettiness, at least for me, I'm petty enough that I'd be like, he told me to kill my friend. He's evil. Fuck him. I'm not going to kill my friend. And you could argue that's what he did in the end. Even after he beat Naruto, he was like, I don't want to kill him. Fuck that. I'm not killing. I'm not doing it. And I just, yeah, I mean, I would at least try. I'm with you, though. I'd at least try to find another mentor. The problem is, like, who would you go to?
Nobody, bro. The village failed you, bro. Like, that's what I wouldn't even look and see who would try to train me. My man just got knocked out. I'm not going to train with Naruto because I don't want to. And, you know, it's just like the dude who already gave me a little kiss on the neck already got me some powers already. And I'm like, I'm already feeling kind of strong. And these new dudes that just came in they're strong too with that curse mark. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to roll with them. You know what I'm saying? Because he already gave me a trial of what this is like. And I'm tired of sticking around a village.
The only thing that makes me go, like, I don't know if I would want to go to Orochimaru is like, fuck, man. Everybody.
You're signing your death certificate at that point.
Yeah,
really.
it's like.
About to be swallowed whole.
Listen, it's like you're 10, right? Like you have to really put yourself in their shoes. You're 10, right? I ain't going with the fucking snake pedophile. You know what I mean? Like in my head, I'm like, this guy's gonna mess me up. Again, just talking briefly about Shippuden, we find out in the end he doesn't really. You know what I mean? And it I guess in the Naruto verse you'd be okay, but like thinking realistically, I'd be like, no, I don't know if I want to. I don't know if. But then again, I'd be 10. Maybe I'd be like, I can handle it. I'm a ninja, you know? I don't know.
But let's think
that's not a bad take, though. I respect it.
How much of a story would it have changed if Sasuke did kill Naruto and got the manga kill Sharingan right then and there? I mean, the whole show would be different at that point.
You know what would happen, though? It was the best thing for Sasuke. Because if he got he'd roll up to Itachi. He'd be like, I got the Mangekyo Sharingan. And then Itachi would kick him through a wall. He'd be like, still too weak, though.
Yep.
You telling me that, like, 10-year-old Sasuke with the Mangekyo would be enough to throw down with Itachi?
But you know what? He probably wouldn't even fight Itachi. I think at that point, Itachi would tell him the truth, to be honest.
Oh, you think so?
Maybe. I think the whole reason why Itachi wanted Sasuke to go through the journey was to be strong and for him to lead a life of the village. So if he found out that he killed his best friend for it, I think at that point, he'd be like, look, Sasuke, that's not the way to do it, bro. And I think he would tell him because all he wanted him to do was so people can leave him alone in the village to be strong. And he was always watching over him, but it turned out to be the other way. But I think if he found out he killed him, he'd be like, look, let me tell you the real truth. And then he would have probably been a part of the Akatsuki at that point.
Right.
And him and his brother would have been fighting alongside the entire time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because he would have been like, that's funny too, because like I agree too, like he didn't want him to actually kill Naruto. I think he would have been like, oh wait, he actually did it? Oh. Yeah. Oh no. Like
yeah. He like, yo, you got strong, bro. You for real. Like that was me. I get you now, bro. Yeah. I think once you find out the story, that would have been the end for the Leaf Village, the end for the world. Well, no, because you wouldn't have had the Nine Tails because Naruto would be dead.
I think what happens if the Jinchuriki dies is doesn't the tailed beast break free?
I thought it dies too, to be honest.
Oh, right. It dies and then it regenerates later. And you find that out in Shippuden. Right. And then the village has got to go hunt it down again. Oh, man. That'd be messed up.
Let's see. Another character. I'm trying to think of
something. Well, because I was going to... Here's where I was going to go with it. Mm-hmm. Then what do you think of Naruto as a character? Because we just did a nice little deep dive with Naruto. No.
You see me thinking in my head. At the time, he was okay.
Uh-huh.
You know, as I look back, 2021, 2022, 2021, 2021. Dude's annoying, bro. Like, I'm going to be honest. Like, I like him in terms of his determination, but when you got a chance to take a whiff at Rock Lee, you don't even think about it. It's not the same thing. You were born with powers, dog. Like, you were born with a beast. I don't care if the beast didn't ask to be in you, but you was born being a part of the Uzumaki legendary clan that no one likes to talk about. You were a part of this. And you were also...
No one likes to talk about that Uzumaki clan. Like,
no one talks about that, right? No one ever does. And he was. And the thing is that everyone likes to think he's the underdog, but he's not. He was born with the beast. And that beast has helped him do everything. It wasn't like he did it all based on his own chakra. The Shadow Clone Jutsu was based on the reason he had the nine-tailed beast. It wasn't because of him. The Sharingan was because of the tail beast. Why he beat Neji? Because of the tail beast. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing other than when he beat Kiba was a part of the Tail Beast. That's the only time when he didn't use it. He used it every time in his fight in Naruto, and that's what pisses me off. You tell me that's what makes you special? Do something else. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do something. And that's where it bugs me with him. It's like, you can't be an underdog when you have you can't be a normal guy when you're born with like benching 405 or something. Like, this dude was born with a leg up, already. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I don't like that, bro. It's like Gaara, but Gaara was an OG. He had something unique about him. Naruto, to me, was like, he didn't really have anything special. He really didn't. Other than the Tail Beast. You take the Tail Beast away, he getting whooped and worked by anyone. Argue me that. I just don't think he would be pieced up real quick. He would be a normal ninja. I guarantee it.
Right.
Kind of like how, what's his boy? His boy, Kinimaru, what's the dude's name? Konohamaru. Yeah, it's kind of like how he is now. He's just kind of there, right?
Right.
It's just like, he's okay. He can do Rasengan. He can do Giant Rasengan. Sorry, bringing Shippuden in this, but it's just like...
Well, it's all right, because we're gonna have to, and this will save us time with Shippuden, right? Because when we get to the Shippuden podcast, we'll end up talking about some other stuff. But you can go ahead and just...
Yeah, I just think he would have been an average guy, man. And I just, it's like, and I'm not going to talk about too much of it because it's going to sound complaining, but I'll say I never got why he was made fun of. Not once. Like, ain't nobody want to talk to him other than, and then when the people do talk to him, they don't even tell him a little bit of the truth. You know how, like, when your kid finds out, we don't have kids, but it's just like a kid when they find out Santa isn't real, it's just like, hey, we got to bring him, Santa, you bring him in easy, but you didn't tell him who his dad was. That's on the wall. You didn't tell him, you didn't say why he was getting made fun of. It was just, he was because he had a tailed beast in him. When people get made fun of, they typically know what they did. You know what I'm saying? There is something, but no one made jokes. You the one with the beast in you. No, like, nothing was there. And I was just like, Rock Lee got made fun of too.
Right.
He looked like a coconut. So let's talk about it. He was like, he was made fun of. He didn't have no jutsu. No one thought he was special. He ain't getting no story like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, Naruto, sorry for you. It's like we sobbed over Naruto and his sad life. And I think other people had it worse. I mean, damn, Hinata was suffering domestic abuse. You know what I'm saying? It's like really have to keep going. It's just like there's other people with issues, bro. Like, but the show has to be focused on somebody. But I'm just saying it's just like...
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Because, like, I actually think that's a problem with the Naruto fan base, too. Everybody acts like Naruto had, like, the hardest, most traumatic backstory. And I'm like...
Sasuke really did. I mean, you can have a whole... imagine just being born in the earth with nobody you relate to. like Sasuke and Kakashi did. There's no arguments.
And Sasuke also had to put up with the same kind of, like, weird prejudice that Naruto had to deal with.
Naruto did. You're a part of the Uchiha clan. Oh, but the girls think you look cute, though. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. But, look. You can't tell me Hinata wasn't a steal. Maybe you don't gotta have all the women like you, but you got someone nice looking at you. It's only his fault because he's too stupid to notice. But it's just
it aggravates me, bro. I'm gonna be honest, man, because it's just go ahead.
And let me throw in because this is good. I'm glad we're not agreeing this whole podcast because the one thing I will disagree with, right, is like, yeah, all right. Because I have so many mixed feelings. I hate how he's hyped up. Like, I agree with you. I hate how he's hyped up as the biggest, best shit ever. And he just, even within his own story, he's not. There's way more characters who are more admirable as people who had a harder life and did better with it. Like, Kakashi's a good example. Like, I'm just going to, go into the Shippuden stuff. This man lost his Kakashi. He lost his girl. I mean,
he killed his own girl, didn't he? He killed his own female. The girl he loved.
Yeah. His dad committed suicide.
I didn't even know that.
Because his dad put up with the same bullshit Naruto had to, and he couldn't take it. And so he was like scarred into thinking that like, I can't fuck with the village. I got to get this clout or I'm going to end up committing suicide too. And then he like opens up, and then every time he opens up, someone important dies. You know what I mean? And like, you can't tell me that's worse. That's easier than Naruto's like Naruto opens up once with Iruka, and all of a sudden he's rewarded with friendship. Kakashi's friends died. Like the only positive social experiences he had were with his kids And hell, it was even implied that he didn't take anybody on because he thought everybody would die under his command. Like they were like, this guy's failed like 50 dudes. I don't think Naruto's even gonna get in. And like when you listen to his whole character, you're like, oh, it's probably because he was worried that they'd all die. And Naruto and his crew were the only people he felt would survive.
Wait, so what's the disagreement? I want to know the disagreement.
The disagreement is, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you're right. The disagreement is, you said, that's like 15 years of ranting. But like, the disagreement is, I actually think that Naruto does have some merits, right? Like, I don't think it's all the Nine Tails because Naruto had to learn to control the Nine Tails. That's a big part of his arc through Naruto and Shippuden, right? Like, that's why I said in the beginning, I think Naruto is about controlling your own potential. Because, like, I don't just see the Nine Tails as a thing. It's supposed to be, like, a metaphor for the darkness inside of him or whatever. You know what I mean?
That is bunch of load of baloney.
Nah, it's true.
That is baloney.
It's
of the
true.
Darkness inside of him.
Yeah, it's like the biggest trope in all.
If he didn't have the Nine Tails, what would be dark inside of him?
No, hold on. Let me explain this. Like, okay, so you know that trope. Like, it's in Bleach. Like, the hollow is supposed to represent the evil inside of Ichigo, and like, fuck. Even in Shippuden, the curse mark Sasuke or Naruto, the curse mark Sasuke represents the evil inside Sasuke, and so Nine Tails Naruto represents the evil inside Naruto.
But it's almost like the Nine Tails, it represents his anger, bro. He has anger issues. When he got angry, that's when the Nine Tails came out. It ain't like he has some evil. It was anger. Sasuke, the more evil he got, the more Sharingan developed. I will agree with that because the more he developed his Sharingan, the more the mark would develop. That's why he couldn't use it during his fights. But the thing is that with Naruto, if he gets angry, that's like the Hawk. The dude's like the Hawk. He gets angry, his Nine Tails comes out.
Yeah, and I mean that's one of the problems is I think it's like, and that's actually why I like some new shonen better because the way that the show like portrays it, it's supposed to be like when he's backed in the corner and he gives into despair, but really most of the time he's just getting pissed.
And it's not like I would understand if he has something that says I'm really fighting the Nine Tails voices inside of me saying to kill everyone because I would understand that at that point. But it never happened until Shippuden.
Well, actually, I disagree with that. Because you know what? When he thought Sasuke died in the Zabuza arc, that wasn't anger. That was grief.
Yeah, but not darkness.
Well, it's...
Yeah, that's still like, it's based off his emotion. You know what I'm saying? Like, Sasuke's purely dark.
I don't know. I would argue it was darkness since he was like, you fucked up my boy. I'm going to kill you. You know what I mean?
I think that's anger, bro. I would be like I'm almost to agreeing with you, but I'm disconnected from that point because I'm like, every time this man got angry or some type of emotion, Sasuke didn't go through various of emotion to get his power. He wanted to murder you, and that's where you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to go through a whole range of emotions. Naruto went through anger and sadness. That is what activates it. And really, if you really want to talk about it, it's really just anger. You know what I'm saying? There really ain't nothing else. I mean, when he gets deep,
let me try to go through it because you might be right. Hold on. So the first one was versus Haku, right?
Yes.
And what was the second one? What was after Haku? What was the next time?
Was Neji after that.
Yeah, but he controlled it. He didn't give into it. He tapped into it. So I'll skip over that one. Did he use it versus Gaara?
He didn't. No, he didn't. He used the Nine Tails. That's when he controlled it. When he used the chakra to be able to summon the little frog.
Yeah. So he but he was still in control.
Naruto versus Sasuke fight. That was the next time where it was out of control.
Yeah, and that was also when he was pissed.
Angry.
Yeah, because he's like, fuck you, Sasuke, you gotta come back to the village.
That's the only thing I say. I do agree. I mean, maybe the idea was there.
I think the idea was there.
Yeah, the idea was there.
But that's the problem. That is the problem with it. Like, I will say that is that it's like, it is only anger. And the darkness inside of man is not just anger.
No, it's not. I mean, I will say, well, you know what? No, you may be onto something. I do think the darkness inside of man is anger in a way.
Really?
I think so. Because
is it just anger?
Maybe, because anger turns into hatred. Anger turns into jealousy. Anger has many different stems.
Okay, you sound like a Jedi now.
Welcome to the dark side, bruh.
Anger leads to hate, and hate leads to fear, and fear leads to the dark side.
I think you got something there because if we're going to, anger, I think is the root cause of a lot of things. Jealousy, murder, envy, those are all angry stuff, right? And it's not just grief. That's the only thing I can say maybe that doesn't turn into anger. Maybe that's just sadness. But then he got angry that he died because Sasuke even gave a whole Martin Luther King speech before he died.
The way I see it, though, like anger is an expression of other emotions. So maybe
I was thinking the other way around, but you could be right. I was thinking maybe it was the other way.
I'm just speaking for myself. But every time I get angry, it's usually out of like a sense. And I actually think that's actually really well portrayed in Naruto, right? Like every time I get angry, it's out of like a sense of powerlessness. Like you're not going to get angry while you're winning, You'll only get angry when you're losing. And for Naruto, that's when it happened. Like he got angry that Sasuke was kicking his ass and was saying, I'm not going back to the village. And when he fought Haku, he was angry because his friend died and he couldn't do anything about it. So he started lashing out.
I don't even think it was powerlessness. I just think it's like, yo, you done murdered my dude and my dude wants to go, Naruto, live on for me. That pissed me off. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I'll be like, all right, bet, dog, I'm gonna rock this nigga real quick. But I just, I'm gonna work your goals, but I'm gonna work his chin first before I work with these goals. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, when Hinata died, he had the power to do that the entire time. Oh, okay, let's not talk Shippuden. We can do that later. All right, but all right, let's just say the idea is that I'm with you there. Let's say the idea
that's where I agree with you, right? Like in the sense that of course you wouldn't bring that up. And of course you would say like, yeah, he didn't really earn anything because
I won't say that. My bad. Let me backtrack a little bit. Let me say, I just think it's not in the beginning, the narrative of Naruto, the character himself, was that he had no friends, started from the bottom, and then he earned his way friendship, or he got friendship, he got everything through hard work. But I don't think he didn't work hard. I just think if you give the nine-tailed beast to anyone else, they would do the same thing. You think that, you give it to Rock Lee, he'd be a better Naruto in my opinion. That means he has the gauge.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't think nobody who watches Naruto says Rock Lee isn't just Naruto but better. You know what I mean?
Or if you gave the tail beast to Neji, dude would be a beast.
Yeah.
Dude would be a beast. You get the nine tails to anyone at that point.
I don't think Neji would. What's supposed to make Naruto special is that he was able to come to terms with the darkness inside of him. But that's not part 1 Naruto. That's part 2 Naruto. Part 1 Naruto was like
that. I don't even think he came to terms with it. He ain't like that man at first. He was just like, he had no, because if it got distracted, he would have died.
Again, in part 1, he was like, shut up, Fox, give me my power.
Wait, but did the Fox ever talk to him in part 1? Did the Fox
It was like, it would say shit like, hey man, you're going to die. Why don't you, I can give you some power, man. And then Naruto's like, yeah, man, let's go fuck him up. And part 2, you see, this is why I'm like, we can talk about part 2. If you want to reference part 2 Naruto, we can talk about part 2 Naruto. Because in part 2, in Shippuden, he does take this thing of, I'm going to befriend you, Nine-Tailed Fox, and there's this whole thing of the Nine-Tailed Fox respecting him because he works hard, which you're right, he doesn't.
That's what I'm saying.
But the idea is there. And then did you ever watch that one episode where it was like the waterfall of truth and he's got to like quell the darkness inside of him? And
is that when two things? Is that when he had Yamato trying to calm him down?
No, that's when he's with B, and B's like,
look, man, and they killed Kisame then.
I'll show you how to tap into the Nine-Tailed Chakra. And so the first stage of it is like he's got to go to this waterfall.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's the same waterfall that killed Kisame, right?
Yeah, and there's a Shadow Naruto who comes out.
Yep.
And the Shadow Naruto is like, I am your hatred, I am everything. It's a great. This is one of my favorite parts in all of Naruto because the Shadow thing's like, I don't even understand why you try to save the village. You should just fuck it up. Like, everybody hates you. No one likes you. They bullied you.
But see, that's where I disagree. Part 2, everyone loved that man. Everyone loved Naruto at that.
The evil Naruto was talking about, like, I don't understand why you did it all your life. Like, I don't understand why you wanted to protect the village all your life. Like, he was even referencing part 1. Because after part 2, after he fought Pain, everybody loved him. But, like, and, he's kind of reminiscing about the past. And he's like, well, I just did. I don't need you, yada, yada, yada. And then he can't beat the evil phase. So he finds out like, in order to beat you, I can't actually fight you. I have to like I have to tell you that I like you too. I have to accept you too. And I thought that was good. I thought that was good shit.
I think that's baloney because the only reason why I say so, and this is where I say this is where it disconnects me. Naruto, when he came back, everyone was checking for this man. Even Sakura was like, "You look pretty good now that you've grown up."
Oh, you talking about in the part 2 of Shippuden?
The first 3 episodes, bro. The first 3 episodes, everyone liked him. Son Tsunade liked him. At least all the ninjas, no one was looking at him like, ugh, you didn't even see that once. Everyone wanted him to come back. Naruto's back. Naruto's back. It wasn't even the same thing no more. Like, I would say, like, there should have never been any anger and hatred to begin with anyway, because the biggest question to me was he had a reason to stay in the village, unlike Sasuke. You killed every one of Sasuke's, so he had a reason. Like, he had no attachment. Your dad is the 4th Hokage, bro.
But he didn't know. I mean,
I argue this.
They should have told
I will
him.
argue they never stated he never knew. They never stated that. Because when he cried to his dad that moment, when he cried to his dad, it wasn't even like, it's nice to meet you. It wasn't like, who are you? It was like, oh, I already knew. Like, the way they said it was like he already knew. He already knew.
I have to go back and watch that scene because I actually can't say definitively that he's like, I don't actually remember him ever saying like the 4th Hokage is my dad or something like that.
It never was brought up. It was like the elephant in the room. Yeah.
And when he was revealed, it wasn't like, oh my God, the 4th Hokage is my dad.
Yeah, bro. It was like, oh, that's my father. That's him. I know.
Yeah.
It was like, and that is my issue, bro. Like, because if that's the case, he had no reason to leave the village. So that's why I said that is so much horse baloney. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just can't get with that, bro. Like, I mean, yeah, you can put that in your message, but that is not what the show was actually saying. I didn't get that at all. Maybe you can say that for Sasuke because he had no attachment. But the whole time, when the whole dad scene came up, that was your moment to say, but you to say, I don't even know who you are. Like, but you knew exactly who he was. You weren't surprised. You knew that was your father. Like, this is like, at that point, I don't know. It's almost like all they told him was that your dad got killed by the nine-tailed fox. They didn't even tell him what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just kind of like, I don't know. Or maybe they did. Maybe they did. They told him. But it was just like, it just didn't make no sense, man. The hatred didn't make no sense. I don't know, man. It's just, the anger maybe if one of his friends died, I'd be like, all right, bet. But it's like, it ain't even that, bro. Like, the village loved you, bro. The Hokage loved you.
Well, the ninjas. Well, because here's the thing. Let me go back and argue this. Because the only people who greeted him when he came back were his ninja friends, right? Like the people from the tuning exams that he gained respect from. The idea was once he beat Pain, he gains the respect of the wider village. But
let's even take it before Pain. Yeah, but it wasn't portrayed that way. I can understand if there was somebody that says, oh, that's Naruto, let's not talk to him. At one point, no ninja friends wanted to talk to him. And it's just, but so we couldn't even use public people because that was barely ever even there. I mean, Aruka Sensei and everyone else was just greeting this man out the butt. That's Naruto. This is Naruto. This is Naruto. It was almost like, and I have a question too. I'm like, at that point, I mean, you think people are going to remember the nine-tailed fox, 6 years from now? And the dude ain't even in the village for 6 years. And you're going to be, at least show it. That's all I'm saying. At least show one person say, everyone seemed like they loved this man. Everyone wanted to work with him. They wanted to test his strength and see where he'd been. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you were really disliked, ain't nobody trying to touch you and talk to you. Gaara was disliked. Let's talk about that. Gaara was disliked.
Yeah, it's true. Because it's funny, too, that you say that, actually, because that actually is a good point. Because, now that I think about it, they actually did it really well in the first, 10 episodes.
Absolutely.
Of showing that Naruto was disliked. Like, there was that dude with the dumb glasses who was like, the fuck? What are you doing, Konohamaru? Why are you hanging out with this guy? That's a Fox kid. But they kind of dropped that by the time he gets on Kakashi's team. You know what I mean?
It wasn't even there no more.
But Gaara actually had that hatred.
He's been hated since Naruto all the way to Shippuden, bro.
Yeah, all the way until Shippuden. Gaara was feared, Yeah,
and hated.
And hated.
Not as a human being, he was betrayed. That's a guy with anger. I would have said that's his dark side. You know what I'm saying? But Naruto never, and you know what? Gaara's dark side was revealed in Naruto. He knew. He even said after he lost it, he said to Mari and Kankuro, I'm sorry. Right? That's something you never hear from Gaara. And he knew, and the thing is, his dark side was revealed. His dark side was his living face. You got a chance to see his light side, and you saw progression that way. You know, but Naruto, I would argue he never had a one dark side. There was no Venom Spider-Man. There was just him. It was just him. There was no dark side to him. That's the only issue. I'm so disconnected with that because it's just like, bro, there are so many other characters that I can say they did a well enough job to tell you who was hated and who wasn't. Neji was hated.
Well, you know it's funny too because now you're talking to me about that. I do also feel like it's funny because I feel like Gaara was everything Naruto should have been.
Yes,
specifically Gaara. Yes. Specifically Gaara. Yes. Like.
He had a reason to kill his village. You know what I'm saying?
If you lowered Gaara's talent level, he would just be Naruto. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's a question too in itself. Oh my goodness. My bad. I'm gonna let you continue. How come Gaara had the invincible shield with a one tail and Naruto got nothing? I'm like,
because supposedly it was because
tail difference.
Something about his mother's love or some bullshit like that.
Protecting sand? He couldn't even stab himself. He couldn't even kill himself.
Well, but it was like implied that like the spirit of his mom was in his sand or some shit.
What?
Yeah, you remember that? It was bullshit. It was a thing in Shippuden. It was one of the dumbest fights when he fights his. Yeah, but
I thought it was because the Jinchuriki didn't want to die because if he dies, then he dies.
That too. I
thought that was the case.
Yeah.
I think it was his mom. I thought the mom thing was whenever he saw some loving stuff, he thought of his mom because his mom died.
The problem is Gaara's character got retconned a lot, so like it's a little bit of both. Like it. Well, we're talking about part one. So yeah, the Jinchuriki. It was the Jinchuriki didn't want to die, so it was protecting him and making him swole as fuck.
The whole 8-tail difference, and Naruto don't get none of that. I'm just shocked. Naruto should be jealous. I'd be jealous. That's where my anger would come from if I was Naruto. I'd be trying to kill Gaara. I'm like, how come y'all didn't? I was trying to kill a writer. Like, how come y'all gave this man an impervious defense, but I'm over here getting punched in my face, kicked in my face, and all the other stuff.
Well, to be fair, one thing that was consistent is that the stronger tailed beasts are harder to control. So, like, Gaara's on easy mode because he got the one tail. But yeah, that
Gaara couldn't sleep. He couldn't even sleep. Wait a minute. He had no control over that. That man was taking Powerade and a whole bunch of Red Bull just to not fall asleep.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting, too, because you said, there's no monster inside of him. It's just him. What's really interesting? I think that applies to Gaara, too, because it's not like he was possessed or nothing. Like, when he decided he wanted to be a good guy, Shukaku wasn't like, no, you're not. I'm evil still.
Shukaku never was his friend. Even when in Shippuden, when they got extracted from him, Shukaku was like, yeah, I don't like you, nigga. I don't want to come back to you. He never liked Gaara. He wanted to murder Gaara. He didn't like him. He never once said and appreciated Gaara at one point in time.
I thought he said so when he got extracted. At least Gaara was like, damn, I didn't want you to go. Because like I thought it happened in the Shippuden arc. He was like, I don't want you to go. I finally kind of started to tolerate you. Something like that.
Yeah, I guess I got used to being able to stand up and not sleep. I got used to laying down with my eyes open. I just, my thing, I'd be, Gaara probably, when he gonna say that, and be like, man, he probably like, damn, dog, like, I'm losing half my power, man. I'm Hokage, man. Like, To
be fair, Gaara didn't need it. Like, he was swole as shit without Shukaku.
I think personally, it was, that's true. But I think personally, without Shukaku, that's a reason to debuff Gaara because Gaara's whole, what I'm saying? I just thought that was the way as soon as I thought that happened, I was like, oh, they're going to make Gaara weak now because that was his, at least what we knew. We didn't know what level he was at. He was killing Jonin when he was a kid, but that was, who knows how much of that was based on his first one tail or not.
It's funny we're talking about we ended up talking about characters who got like the bad treatment, like Rock Lee. I feel like Gaara was pretty consistent. Like that guy was pretty.
The first one, part one,
pretty consistent big boy.
Until part one, that was it. After that, Gaara went bootleg. Then he got a new haircut and everything else changed.
Oh yeah, I hate his dumb haircut. It's so stupid. But yeah, even just going back to the Naruto topic because I actually think that's super fascinating. I didn't actually ever think about it from that point of view. Like Gaara's story is just Naruto's, but like kind of done better and more realistically. You know what I mean?
And they did say that. They did say that when they finally got a chance and Naruto gave them glistening glitter tears and Shippuden, and it was like, it kind of was like, oh, I had a chance to get friends. He didn't. But Naruto, niggas weren't coming to kill you though because people came after to kill Gaara. His own dad sent assassin to kill him. His best friend, Gaara, was trying to kill him, and that broke him. Naruto didn't even have the chance. This is what Sasuke said that really put it to me when they fought. He said, you never had, pretty much paraphrasing when they were on the lava arguing, he said, you never had parents. You wouldn't even know what it's like to lose them. So you don't even know. Gaara had a best friend from day one, but it was a portrayed best friend from his dad to be an assassin. He had his own. He didn't even have. He had parents, and they abandoned him. And his mom died. That's heartbreaking. Naruto don't. He's ignorant to the situation. He don't know how it feels. And so my thing is like how he wanted to compare himself. This is no comparison. There's no comparison. Like he was able to get friends. Iruka Sensei was your dad, and it's like it's just I don't know. Your dad was a great man. Gaara's dad was an assassin that tried to kill his own son. It was all over the place. And it was used as a weapon. Like, Naruto wasn't even thought of being used as a... Naruto had a Christian village, bro. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, Gaara lived in the village of the devil, dog. I'm telling you. Like, it's just... Yeah. I don't know, man. There's no comparison. There's really no comparison.
It's interesting, too, because I do think that I still like that idea. I love that idea of controlling the demon inside you kind of thing. I really do like that. And I do think that's what people feel. Like, I think that that's what Naruto fans feel when they get attached to Naruto. But you're right. They don't show him working hard, except in flashbacks in Shippuden. Like, we can talk about he doesn't, you've rewatched the original. Okay. I actually even have to ask. You had no episode numbers. Yeah. In the original Naruto, you don't see him training as much as you do in Shippuden. In Shippuden, every other time there's a flashback to him as a kid doing pull-ups in his room.
Let's be real in Shippuden, though. Let's just be real. He had a hyperbolic time chamber thing, too. They put out something, your shadow clones can retain memory and skill, too. So now if I make 1,000, I can times my train. He had a hyperbolic time. This is what I'm saying. He's so broken, dog. Well,
I was trying to make the point, because I know there's a lot of Naruto fans who's going to be listening to this. And, like, I actually kind of get your point now. Now that you explain that, like, I get where the emotional disconnect is. And it's interesting because I do feel like in my head as a kid and even as an adult, I'm able to kind of fill in where the writing fails me. You know what I mean? Because the idea is there. Every other character has to do that. And it's funny because, as you pointed out, other characters do it better. So because there's kind of like this big narrative idea, you still feel it in Naruto.
Yeah. Like fighting the demon would fit perfect with Neji. He had the whole curse mark on his head and he fought against that the entire time.
Yes.
He didn't even like it because he knew his dad died for no reason. So he didn't like that. And that's why he was angry towards Hinata. He chose not to kill her and do stuff to her. But when he had the chance, he was about to murk her stuff. But he was like, he could have did it at any point in time. But she's the princess. There's a lot, bro. There's a lot to dig into that. It was other characters who actually had not real demon, but
like Neji's a good example. Hell, we even covered Sasuke. I mean, Sasuke, everybody gives some shit for fucking making a bunch of stupid choices. But as you pointed out, we do the same shit. A lot of people do the same shit in this situation.
I don't think he made bad choices, man. I think people hate him because he was cool. I think his choices, if anyone were to hate, man, I would love to see y'all opinion on it because I really do think, let's be real, man. If you were put in that choice, people get mad when family gets sick. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I can only imagine. I don't know what it feels like, and I hope I never get the chance to know, to see somebody die in front of me and see my own person that killed my entire family standing right there. Right. I would be what emotional they picked. Let's talk about this. They did a really good job at showing the emotion of Sasuke. He was angry, but he was scared, so he ran away because he didn't want to face his brother because it's his brother.
Right.
So, first off, that was an amazing scene, right? And let's talk. He ran away. He wanted to fight. He asked what he's doing, but he ran away. He didn't want to die either. But it's his brother at the same time. So I don't think he was just running away based off of he didn't want to face his killer and not wanting to die. He didn't want to face reality. He didn't think it was real. But not to get too far off the point, but I do think I forgot the point, man. I'm over here thinking about the scene.
You're talking about Sasuke face because I was saying that Sasuke.
The decisions, right?
And the fact that Sasuke, when I was talking about that idea of Naruto has to accept his demons and move past them and accept like that whole idea of Naruto has to accept the demons that they're always a part of him and move past that.
Yep.
Sasuke kind of does that better.
I do. I think he that's the to be fair.
He spends the whole series figuring out how to do it.
Yeah.
But in the end, he does. He's got to get punched in the face to get it done, but he does.
Yeah, I think he made the right decisions. I really do. Because honestly, I don't see myself doing it any different. I just know myself. I would not go ask somebody else in the village who can help me after I done seen my person that trained me my entire life get slept.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, in terms of part one, I I have some emotional disconnects with part 2, but we can get to that when we get to Shippuden.
Yeah, part two coming next.
But like with part 1, I agree with every decision he made emotionally and even logically. Now that you pointed that out to me, like he made a lot of the logical decisions, and it's not like I do feel like he was a little extra by like saying like the Leaf Village sucks. I don't think I would have been like that. I would have been like a lot more like cordial with Naruto and been like, yeah, yo, say hi to Kakashi for me.
Dude suck, man. They got Itachi dropped your men, bro.
But like, look, the only reason he was able to kick Naruto's ass is because Kakashi taught him that sweet ass Chidori technique. Just saying.
Yeah.
So I would have been like, hey.
Hey, he got taught Chidori, but man, Orochimaru would have taught him that. He taught him how to summon a dragon out the sky. So, I mean, Kakashi really in that. He probably stole that too. I think Kakashi has, I don't know what power is his and what power is not.
The only thing that I know is, I think it was said the only jutsu he ever came up with was the Chidori and the lightning blade. That's the only thing he's ever done that's his.
Yeah. So, and he's supposed to have 1,000 jutsus with stolen jutsus, but it's just, they sucked, bro. Ain't nobody there in that village other than the third Hokage could have helped him. And I think even at that point, Itachi put up a hand that maybe would have killed the third Hokage. Probably, maybe.
No, I mean, I think the third Hokage would have fucking wiped the floor with Itachi personally.
Well, you gotta think. At that time, he still has Susanoo, Manga Kill Sharingan. That's a problem. That's a big problem.
Yeah, but like
third Hokage is not the fourth Hokage, and third Hokage is not the second or the first.
You know, the third Hokage though, like threw down with the 9 tails,
and he still needed help of the fourth Hokage.
Well, yeah, but he stalled. Like people be acting like that fight was like the village versus the 9 tails, but it was like the third Hokage versus the 9 tails. He was the one fighting that thing off the whole time.
But you know what's funny is that one Uchiha member could have stopped that from happening.
Yeah, I know. It was funny. It was funny as hell. Like honestly, the politics, that's another interesting thing. That I think that Naruto has like really interesting lore. Because that's super fun to talk about. Like the village. Like what would have happened if they let the Uchihas deal with the 9-tail incident?
I think they would have took over because anyone who can control a beast like that is a problem. Because it's just like at that point, what's stopping Madara from coming back? What's stopping, Obito from doing his thing? Because if one person can control whatever, you killing whatever village you want to and just collecting beasts at that point.
Right.
That was the original plan. Obito was going to take the charge. Good thing about the Naruto and all Shippuden and that is it shows you that the politics happening everywhere, and that is the dark side of the show too, because that was the whole reason why this happened was politics. That was a very hard decision. Itachi is the man.
Yeah, it's true. We'll cover that with Shippuden. Yeah. Shippuden's got a lot of, it's weird. Everybody likes part 1, but I actually think a lot of the more interesting topics come from Shippuden.
Oh, absolutely. I mean? Absolutely. I agree with you 100% because, absolutely.
like I think part 1 has the more interesting characters, but like part 2 has the more interesting story. You know what I mean?
I would argue that, man, to be honest with you, because remember, part 1, it was just introduction. Part 2, we got a chance to see Akatsuki. We got a chance to see everyone else.
But part 2 doesn't have Rock Lee. Just saying.
Hey, we got my guy. I'm okay.
It's true. See, and we'll get to that. Part 2 is going to be longer than this one. I swear to God. It's going to be longer than this one. Because I got beef with that. That should have been Lee. That should have been Lee.
No, it shouldn't have.
Yes.
No, it shouldn't have.
Why? Okay. No, fuck it. We are talking about this now.
Till we continue. No, let's do this.
Fine. All right. You know what? Next time. All right. You know what?
Overall, this before we close out.
Yeah, because I was like,
okay. Overall, any message? I want to just say I don't hate on Naruto. I feel like when people listen to this, people are like, damn, you just tore this joint up. I'm like, but you know what? Like,
well, let's end this off with this. I think there's at least for me, I don't know about you. I'll ask you 2 questions. When you watch a show, are you the type of person who like sits there and considers the show's messages and sort of decides where it belongs in your life? Or are you like, I just like this. This makes me, I don't know what the alternative would be. But like, what do these, you know what I'm asking, right?
Yeah, I think both. I'll say when I first watched the show, I didn't care about too much of the message because I was so in love with the show. I'm gonna tell you what, the show, if you haven't watched anything like it, it's very overwhelming with new stuff when I first watched it. Right. The hand signs, the fighting, the cool stuff. The message got lost to me versus like, well, it didn't. The message was there. I'm gonna make my own ninja way. This is a guy who's gonna make his own destiny, right? It was on at the end of episode 19, that's when he said that. And I think that was what made it clear to me when, okay, we're gonna follow this guy through his journey, right? We're gonna follow this guy through his journey. Other than that, I didn't think of anything else. I'm gonna be quite honest. But nowadays, I'm the type of person, like, I will look at the message of what they're trying to say, because I think it's interesting that we got to consider the writer, why he wrote the show, and does he convey? Right. I think we owe that respect to the people who make these type of shows. So I look at both now. But back then, I didn't look at it this way. The show was so great and with so much new stuff. Naruto was very refreshing. I didn't know anything about this new fighting stuff. So it was like, it took over by storm. You know what I'm saying? So that's me. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm a super giga nerd. So like for me, whenever I like watch any kind of art, what always stays with me is what the author is trying to say. And that's always what I look for, because to me, that's the most compelling part about it. What messages they portray with their characters and what they're trying to say. So for me, that's always been the most important thing, even if that's figuring that out, and my ability to figure that out changes as I get older, you know? So I wanted to close this out by just saying, what have you taken from this show other than Naruto's a fucking hypocrite?
I think I'll say Naruto taken from the show. Watch it. If you haven't watched it, this is one of the legendary shows with some of the best fighting you'll ever see. Now, now there's new shows out, but let's just say if any newcomer was out there, and if you haven't watched the show, you need to watch it. The show, despite some of the critiques that we're saying, this show is great. You know, what great show, you know, when they say, you know, something's great when they're talking, you know, when they can critique it like this, when they talk bad and good. And I think this show I still watch fights today. I still watch certain scenes today, not even just the fights. There are certain scenes I watch from Naruto alone, not even the Shippuden, just Naruto alone. So I think the show is still an S-rank show for me, a 10 out of 10, straight up.
I mean, for me, it's I don't consider it an S-rank show. I think it's I think it's hard because it's such an important part of my childhood that it's hard to like.
That's very true.
There's times where I've been like, this show's average. And there's been times when I think this show's bad. And then there are times like, this show's the best. Yeah. So like, and it was one of the first shows I watched. So of course.
Yeah, it's hard. This is a little, it might be biased, but it's all good.
Yeah. But I don't know. For me, it was kind of my first taste of that good shonen philosophy of you work hard, you believe in yourself, and you can do great things. So like, it was very empowering for a young me.
Like an old man.
So yeah. So it's I don't know. It's always going to be there. It's always going to be a good show. I can't rate it other than to call it a good shonen show that you should watch.
Something that's memorable though. Do you think
it's got a lot of heart. It's got a lot of problems, but it's got a lot of heart. That's why we kept watching, despite how bad it could be sometimes.
And there's a reason I think that people use this as a benchmark to compare to other shows. Like there's a reason. Well, mainly they're talking about Shippuden, I feel like, but still.
Yeah. No, we will, because that's the next one we should do. We should do Shippuden next.
I think so too. I'm with it. Yeah, the Shippuden coming, because I'm actually really I can spend 2 hours talking. I can spend another 45 minutes talking about Naruto, to be honest. But
it's true. But the only way we can really, really talk about it is with Shippuden.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so too. There's Shippuden definitely, I feel, is going to be an interesting topic because there's a lot to say there too. But yeah, I like this. Yeah, well, we can close out here, man. We'll see. Any ending messages? Want to end this off? What you want to do?
No, I think that's good. I'll for all of you watching, I'll see you guys next time.
And subscribe, or we gonna haunt you.
Yeah, man. Gotta get that extra. Gotta get these videos in. Yeah, these audio podcasts.
That's hard work. What are you doing? This ain't free. Don't make us do it for free.
All right. 3, 2, 1, and end it.